how about Christianity altogether? Let's not be weak losers who surrender our sacred symbols to cringy Satanists on Reddit.
And he's got his ears and his goat beard, and you can see the power of Satan, right? Yeah, etched into the side of the Mormon temple.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And then I say, be nice to me or I'll unleash it on you.
I don't necessarily shy away from the violence of the Book of Mormon.
Tolerance now means tolerance, and gay means happy. So many members of our faith are so desperately trying to be Protestants.
I think we need to frame this artwork and hang it around our church buildings in the hallways.
I didn't want to lean Mesoamerican or North American one way or the other.
So you wimped out is what you mean. I wish I was more of a scriptorian. Yeah, I was about to say.
I mean, I tell you guys that I don't want to be a know-it-all, so, you know.
Yes, your humility is much appreciated. All of the scriptural references used in this episode will be brought to you by scripturenotes.com. For a free trial to Scripture Notes, please visit the link in the description. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Ward Radio. I'm your host, Cardinellis, and today we're joined in the studio by a special guest, none other than the Library of Godwin, a.k.a. our friend Caleb Williams here. Me and Brittany the Shadow have been interrogating him about all kinds of cool stuff. What it's like being an American member of the church in Britain, what inspires his artwork, the whole 9 yards. And we asked him to share with us one of his more recent pieces. He's kind of blown up on the internet because of this guy, if you could pull it up there. The Book of Mormon, what do you call it? Illustrated Edition. Tell us about this project, because I've heard nothing but great things about it. I know the women of Ward Radio absolutely love your art and wanted to get you on the show, and you're going to be recording with them tomorrow as well. Tell us all about this, what inspired it, the story behind it, the whole 9 yards. Caleb Williams, Library of Godwin, go.
Okay, yeah. So this is the Book of Mormon. Godwins Illustrated Edition is what I've called it. Basically, late 2023, we were getting ready for Come Follow Me to start over again. We'd done all 4 years, and I realized that I didn't actually do Come Follow Me any of those 4 years. So I was trying to figure out a way to actually be a good saint and study the scriptures. So I decided that I would try to I'd commit to illustrate something every week from the Book of Mormon. That would, help me focus more, and that's kind of where the project started. I had no intention of creating a book out of it or anything like this. I had an Instagram that I had thrown up a few art things on over the years, but I decided that I wanted to commit once a week, something from that section of Come Follow Me. I'd illustrate it and throw it up. And that's how, this project started. I've always loved old illustrated Bibles and the woodcuts and the engravings. There's kind of European styles and artists. And one day I was thinking, and I was like, wait a minute, I could just do this for the Book of Mormon if I love it so much, if I like the style so much. And so that's what I chose to do. And so, piece by piece every week. And then people started noticing and started building up a bit, and I got a following. And then halfway through the year, I was like, hey, maybe I can find an public domain version of the text, put it together as an illustrated Book of Mormon.
Yeah, I was going to say, have you gotten your cease and desist letter from Curtin McConkie yet?
No, not yet.
Those people won't send a single thing to Hulu. But the second, some Mormon mommy in a homeschool group tries to do a free coloring book PDF of the angel Moroni on the Salt Lake Temple, they will slap her hand off that paper so fast with a cease and desist. It is an embarrassment. Did you get any flack from the lawyers of the church?
I haven't heard anything yet. This episode is going to be me.
Did you use the Bicker Tonight 1922 or 1912 version of the text?
I used, I think it was a reprint of the 3rd edition published in the 1870s sometime. I actually think it was published by non-members who were publishing it for reference for people who wanted to learn more about these Mormons out in Utah. They had reprinted it. I found it on the Internet Archive. I checked. It looks like, here you go. I checked, and it looked like,
geez.
There we go. Knocked the camera. Sorry about that.
That's all good.
Looked like it was in the public domain. So the cool thing about it is that it has the original chapter separations. So the chapter separations.
There's no chapters and verse. It's like
there's
the
no
original
verses.
It's like the original Book of Mormon here. Just you get an occasional super epic. Super epic. Whoops.
There you go.
Super epic illustration there. All right.
Yeah, so no verses. It's in paragraph form, and the chapters are different. So There's fewer chapters, which means the chapters start and end at different places than we're used to. Here, I can give another one.
Yeah, I was
Brittany
about to say,
here.
I can't give this
Can't
across
quite
the way to
reach for
Brittany.
I was feeling stressed about trying to reach that from Carden.
Yeah, seriously. All right. No, so this is this is impressive. And the detail is just so intriguing. I just find myself drawn to want to read more. I just feel classier reading this. I hate to say it.
It's really cool because it's a totally different reading experience. So my background is actually I studied editing and publishing at BYU. So I love books and how they come together and how you can design them. And having it without verses and with different chapter separations, for me, it was a totally different reading experience. I noticed things I never noticed before, and the flow of the narrative and how things connect with each other. I think it's a cool way to read the Book of Mormon as though it was the first time. It is kind of how it feels.
I'd say just like looking at it, it's like Carden said, very classy. And just like looking at the art, I feel like I could look at it multiple times. Like there is so much detail in it that it's beautiful. It has just like really good energy and just really pretty.
And I gotta know, where did you get this font? Did you just like go to some woodcut panel in Edinburgh? Okay. Or did you just invent that?
No, there's websites that have a ton of public domain fonts. I looked forever because I wanted to get a certain feel because I love these old books, these old printing press style books that have that roughness to them. You see that kind of font in like colonial American times. Yeah. And it felt like what the kind of books Joseph Smith would have read from, the kind of Bibles or the kind of look of a Bible that Joseph Smith might have read from. And that is part of the design that went into it that was important to me.
Yeah, that still is one of the holy grails of Mormon history. I'm friends with Reed Moon and John Hayacek and all these guys that are big Mormon book collectors, right? Mm-hmm. And like Hiram Smith's Book of Mormon that was given to, I can't remember the provenance, but I mean, just you're holding it, and when it says in the Doctrine and Covenants that he folded the page and closed the book, and then you see in Hiram Smith's Book of Mormon exact page is folded. It's just like, whoa, it's just powerful stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But not as powerful as if we could chase down the Bible that Joseph Smith was reading when he read James.
Ooh, yes.
James 1:5. Yeah. Like apparently one of those holy grails out there that nobody's found yet is the Smith family Bible that Joseph Smith was reading when it said in James 1:5, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God. And you're just like, if you could find that, the Bible that set off the restoration, that would be absolutely gnarly. And it's funny you mentioned these, like the old school press and so on and so forth, because that's really why the church blew up in England and in Wales and in these other places. Because if I remember correctly, you might be able to shed more light on this with your history of publishing. Wasn't it that like once modular press was invented, Dan Jones would make all these flyers and send them ahead to all the pastors and the bishops and the preachers and say, I'm going to come convert half your congregation, come debate me in the public square. And because we were using all the most advanced technology of the time, we're actually ahead of the curve instead of behind it like we are. Thank you, COB. No, just kidding. But
publishing has been a strength of the church since the beginning. So there is really cool history. One of my professors at BYU, I think Jacob Rue, he does a lot of research out in Wales, and he taught us about a lot of the strength of the early church was that they arrived just when these innovations in publishing were coming around. And so while these old churches were struggling to keep up and didn't want to adapt, Joseph Smith was ready to jump in on any possible way of getting the word out.
And this is what you studied at BYU, was publishing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know we're here to talk about your artwork, and your artwork is amazing, and we're going to publicize the crap out of Library of Godwin and your book and all that stuff. But I do have to pick your brain a little bit on any insights you might have gained while you were studying publishing. Because it's funny you say that publishing has always been a strength of the church. And I think in most church history it has, but like we didn't even have social media Like Young Men Worldwide didn't exist until February 2024.
Those
like
videos are pretty funny on the Young Men's Instagram
funny is another
page.
way of saying embarrassing cringe. Okay. So it's like, I really feel like, yes, we were ahead of the game on radio.
Yeah.
That's why you have the longest standing radio show. We were ahead of the game on modular printing. We were ahead of the game on even printing the Book of Mormon. That was technology that had only been out for like 2 or 3 years. When Joseph Smith took advantage of it. And I just feel like kind of like all the way up until the post-war era, we were super avant-garde. But then we got rich enough and wealthy enough that we could just rest on our laurels. So we did. Like, I remember when the internet came out, you couldn't get a seminary teacher you couldn't get the scriptures on your Palm Pilot unless you got bootlegged pirated files.
Yeah.
A Palm Pilot. I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Angry Birds on the Palm Pilot.
Yeah, I just totally dated myself
With the little
there.
pen.
Yeah.
And the shorthand, which was actually very good shorthand, okay? But either way, I kind of feel like we actually fell behind the times in publishing. So like, are there any insights you have to, like, what were some historical strengths of the church and, like, maybe innovations we took advantage of? Or what makes you say, like, besides what I mentioned right there, that like publishing has always been one of our strengths? In your studies, did you ever see like, wow, we really rode this technological wave that nobody really considers?
I think what the church does with a lot of its published materials is very impressive. Translation, especially publications of translated works, is a very complicated process, and the church invests a lot of time and resources into making sure these texts are available in all different types of languages. Like you say, yeah, probably online content. Digital access to stuff is good now, like digital access to books. I like Gospel Library, but things like social media content, YouTube, those are challenges because they're not quite the same. It's hard to do that institutionally, like a top-down approach to things like social media, because social media runs on organic engagement, on authentic voices, real people, and so I think that's probably where the church has struggled to build up.
Look at you, an apologist for the bureaucracy, bro. Look at you, man. You found your boy. You found your boy, church office building. They're going to be calling you in you're going to get the
Well, they
gig.
didn't hire me for the internship, so I won't say I'm all in on the church publishing
Okay,
department.
all right. Well, they're missing out, dog. So finish what you're saying.
Yeah, I think a lot of what they do is impressive, but it is hard when you're a big institution to kind of to move forward a lot. So I think it takes individuals to go out there and try new things and push the envelope. So that's what we see.
Maybe
So I think that's a fairly balanced, hopefully, view.
Okay,
Okay,
talk.
I
There
have
we
a
go.
question.
Yes.
So, like, back to like your amazing artwork.
Yeah.
How, on average,
Mm-hmm.
how long would like a piece of art take you?
Yeah, it's a good question. Some of them, for these ones in the Book of Mormon, I would say 3 to 5 hours
That's
per
it.
piece. I'm fairly.
Oh, I was
quick.
thinking like
I'm
couple
quite a-
days. Like
Yeah, we
it's like,
gotta
I
we gotta
like,
massage that answer. You should be like,
whoa,
I usually
I
sweat
toil
for
by
5 hours.
candlelight. Yeah.
But
That's amazing.
I'm fairly efficient, which has helped me put out a lot of content in the last year. Sometimes it will take longer. If there's a big piece, it might take 20 or 30 hours. Or if it's a piece that I have to redo, like maybe 1 out of every 10, I don't get the idea right for a couple iterations. So I have to do a few drafts and I scrap it and try again. But yeah, on average, most of the ones in here, the simple ones, take 3 to 5 hours, I'd say.
Okay, and then how do you like? What's your inspiration for like what to draw? Like what story or like? Is it just from reading? Is it like you have a dream? Like
Yeah, so it comes to me in a vision.
for I am a visionary
Yeah.
man,
Yeah,
said
exactly.
Library of Godwin.
So I'll sit down. I'll look at what the Come Follow Me is this week. You know, it's Alma chapters 5 to 12. I'll read those. Sometimes it'll pop out immediately what I want to do. I'll think. I tried to focus on things that you don't always see in church art, characters or events. Sometimes I did feel like it was a spiritual experience sometimes. Sometimes I really did. A verse popped out at me that never had, and I felt right away, you need to do this one.
Yeah.
So it was a different experience each time. But yeah, I just really at the end of the day, I just drew what I would like to see in an illustrated Book of Mormon,
Yeah.
and hope
I
that
love
maybe
that
other
one.
people. Yeah, that was a commission that I did for someone.
Well, I'm just so curious. So it's like the old woodcuts,
Mm-hmm.
which we absolutely love. One of a book actually I almost bought for my budding rare book collection. All right. Reed Moon made me think that I'm cool, but I just have like 1/1000th of the budget that I would need to, deal with him.
This stuff's crazy.
However, there was an interesting piece that was on sale in the illustrious auction house of eBay.
Yep.
That I went from Sotheby's down over to eBay.
Yeah.
But I remember reading the history of the book. It was the first Bible that had illustrations in it that weren't just the first page illustrations, where there was like an illustration of Cain slaying Abel, of the Tower of Babel, so on and so forth. And apparently it's a famous, albeit very mass produced in I think the 1600s. So you can get one for $200, $300. It's not a super, super rare book. It's not like, one of the original 10 Gutenberg Bibles or something. But I remember it was the first one to have woodcuts, and it talked about the artist that was commissioned to make all the woodcuts. And woodcuts take forever.
Yeah.
Like, holy smoke. And I get that that's what gives them their cool look. How do you replicate that in the modern day? I mean, I don't see you with sawdust all over you and a chisel in your back pocket. How do you do this all?
Yeah, I use my iPad, so that's how the sausage is made. It's digitally done, but yes, I work very carefully to try to make it look as hand done and true to that original wood block. And so with wood blocks, the wood cuts a certain way, and that creates lines that have a certain weight and a certain texture to them. And I try really hard to replicate that in those textures and those lines and forms on the iPad. That's kind of my approach. Because, that's what I love is those old wood block prints, and then later the steel engravings. The Gustave Doré Bible is really famous, and that has just some of the best.
I think it's that one, the Gustave.
Yeah, the Doré Bible. It's not an early one. It's a 19th century.
Or maybe
he was a French engraver, but $200 to $300 sounds probably about right for that.
Okay.
But yeah, he's got the most just some of the most magnificent art. And so he's one of my big inspirations from history.
Dude, that's cool. See how that works? eBay just brings us together.
Yeah, there you
eBay
go.
brings us together. So, do you ever do any with analog ink and pen or anything
I
like
do.
that?
Occasionally I will. I just find that it's messy, and there's part of the reason I'm able to do it quickly is because it's a lot easier to erase mistakes or move things around on the iPad. So, for efficiency's sake, I use technology, but occasionally I'll still go back to pen and paper.
Okay.
You can't beat that at the end of the day.
All right. Yeah. What's the advantage of that?
It's just tactile. You get to feel it. You've got this connection to it. And one day I would like to do a genuine woodblock print carving, get some authentic tools and sit down and spend days on one piece. So that's on the goal. I have an idea for this year, so we can look out for that. But that would be a cool thing to do.
Dude, wicked. That's going to be a collab we do.
All right.
That's going to be a
Sounds
straight
good.
up collab. But I want you to wear the most English 1600s. I don't care. I don't know if they wore high boots back then or the little
I'll put something
Newsies
together.
cap or something, but you're going to be wearing that during the whole, that's going to be totally awesome. So I guess let's just jump right in here. I mean, I'm such a guy. The first, you can pick one of these as well. Why don't you pick your favorite one, babe? I don't know about my favorite one
There we go.
much as this is the first one that I just stopped and I looked at it. They were determined he should fall. That is just way cool, dude. That is totally awesome. So what made you think about this? Because I noticed two things right off the bat. First off, it's like everything awesome about a comic book mixed with everything about an engraving, which is pretty rad. I feel bad for homeboy number 2 instead of homeboy number 1 because this guy's loincloth is a lot bigger. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if you were saying you were taking sides there and making fun of one of these cats.
You are a boy.
But what made you this is so cool. If you were an art forger, you could convince me that, I mean, there's a lot of tells that, this is modern. However, at first glance, if you were to print this on some kind of cardstock and age it, you might be able to convince me oh, cool, this is an old woodcut or
antique.
something. So what made you choose to have this piece of art come out the way it did?
So one thing that you'll notice in this is that I don't necessarily shy away from the violence of the Book of Mormon. The church maybe doesn't focus on that for good reason because, That's not the focus of the Book of Mormon, but I think it is an important part of the story to realize how violent and horrific this period of time was. These struggles between these different peoples. If you see on page 231,
Okay.
I show Nehor about to slay Gideon.
Oh, dude, I am so there.
These are scenes that, I mean, you see Ammon taking the arms in some church artwork, but these are kinds of scenes you don't see very often, because I think there's a lot of the emotional weight when you realize the actual violence, how scary time this would have been for the people, and how much their faith would have been challenged by these things. I also have the martyrs being burned from Alma 17.
That's an intense scene.
And it was an intense one to do, but I felt like it was important. Let me see if I can.
Well, while you're looking it up, I was going to say, the other thing that I noticed and I appreciate about your artwork is woodcuts sometimes can be very frenetic.
Sure, yeah.
Because it's almost as though, like, back then they're like, well, you have to fill every square centimeter.
Yeah, yeah.
But you don't shy away from isolating out the backgrounds.
Yeah.
Like in all of your art here, there's not all of it, but in much of it, there's an empty background. And sometimes that can very much add to the artistic nature of this. Like, for example, it says, and the devil will not support his children at the last day. All of this negative space and this
isolation.
Yeah, it just really leaves that character isolated. What was his name? He was the one that like a dog returns to his vomit.
Yeah,
right?
I think,
Who
is
was
that
character?
Korhor? I think.
I can't remember. Is that Korhor? What are we in right
I
now?
feel like
I
I'm
wish
in
I was more
seminary
of a
now.
scriptorian.
I
Yeah, I
feel
was
like
going to say.
I mean, I tell you guys, but I don't want to be a
Scripture
know-it-all,
dad.
so, you know.
Yes, your humility is
Yeah.
much appreciated. So now the Zoramites were dissenters from Nephites, therefore I had the word of God preached on them. Yeah, it sounds about right. The devil will not support his children in the last day. Yes, these are the Nehor chapters, it sounds like, because we are in Alma.
Well, it's a different chapter in this
Oh,
version.
yeah, it's Korihor. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
That would be
Alma chapter, XVI. Hold on. What is that? 16. There we go.
There you
So
go.
it's-
16.
Oh, boy, this is not something you'd use in a scripture chase.
No,
Let me tell you
no.
that.
I kind of like that it's not like the verse, though, in the chapter. I don't know.
You have to hunt for it.
No, it almost makes it feel more like a story rather than I'm reading the scriptures, right?
Yeah, verses are really helpful for studying the scriptures, but they do interrupt the narrative flow of it when you're reading it. And each verse kind of creates a start and a stop for itself. And so you're kind
it's like
of
a
stuttering
mind
from
block.
one. Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, I've read a chapter. Okay. Whereas this, it's like, I could keep going.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so what's
Like
the
that.
feedback on this thing so far? Everything from not including regular chapter and verse to the artwork. What's the feedback been so far?
I mean, it's been positive so far. I think people like it. If they don't, they at least keep it to themselves. So that's fine by me. But
I love it. Can I share my favorite artwork?
yes, please.
Hit it.
Okay. This one.
Ah,
Is
yes.
Oh,
Which page
that's
is that? 24.
beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, it's not
Oh,
focusing anymore.
man. You have to cover your face or else it'll try and focus on your face.
There we go.
Is that
Well,
good?
or
Yeah.
you just put it closer to the camera. But yeah, that'll work.
No, that one's beautiful.
Yeah, 24 you said it was,
Yeah,
babe?
page
Yeah,
24.
page 24.
Okay, so here's it's in First Nephi. Oh, is this the tree of life? I looked and I beheld a virgin again bearing a child in her arms. Oh, this is beautiful. Now, you're so rich on symbolism. What's this star above the tree that I see?
Yeah, so that's you can think of that as the Bethlehem star. It's also, people have called it out because it's a 5-pointed star upside down. But traditionally, that was a very ancient Christian symbol for Christ. That's why you see it in the Nauvoo Temple, the upside down pentagram.
Yeah, and then you always get those evangelical protesters at the Salt Lake City Temple because apparently it's on the Salt Lake City Temple as well. And they say, it's a 5-star pointed star of Baphomet. And he's got his ears and his goat beard, and you can see the power of Satan, right? Yeah, etched into the side of the Mormon temple.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And then I say, be nice to me or I'll unleash it on you.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is one thing that I really am passionate about is how about Christianity altogether? Let's not be weak losers who surrender our sacred symbols to cringy Satanists on Reddit. The 5-pointed upside down pentagram as a Satanist symbol wasn't until like some cringy Frenchman in the 1850s wrote a book and drew a goat's head in it. And then ever since then, every Christian's been freaking out that it's a sign of the devil. When it wasn't. You can find it on ancient Christian churches back to the 5th century.
So you suggesting we go around and call our happy friends gay now just to take the word back?
Yeah, exactly. Something like that.
We're taking back the dictionary.
Yeah.
Tolerance now means tolerance and gay means happy. I don't know if we can pull that one off. You know what I'm saying?
That might be a harder. But yeah, I'm really passionate about these symbols are ancient and they're meaningful and they're important. And a lot of times Christians will throw them away and say, because, it might look a little bit Masonic to have this kind of a symbol there, or it might look a little occultish to have a design, and not realizing that the Masons and the occultists borrowed these from the Christians and perverted them from the Christians to begin with. So they took them, we surrendered them, and now everyone thinks that they started in these occult
It's
fields.
so true. So many members of our faith are so desperately trying to be Protestants.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, it's like, no, we don't believe in stripping out all the beautiful symbolism. Like, there's something about Catholic richness.
Yes,
Like,
indeed.
just, you know, it's like not everything about the Reformation was a good idea.
Yep.
All right, let me just say that, okay? It was not this constant, like, Reformation does not mean Renaissance, okay? So, or Renaissance, as we say in English. So, I'm just curious. What is the most overlooked or misunderstood symbol that you've encountered through your very symbolic artwork?
Misunderstood. The star is a big one. That's one I probably get comments on the most. One really interesting one that Dave Butler, I think, has talked about quite a bit is the serpent. Because the thing with symbols is they can represent even opposing ideas. So throughout the scriptures and throughout art, the serpent represents the serpent in the garden, Satan, but it also is the serpent they're like that, the brass serpent on the staff, which is a symbol of Christ. And so people struggle when symbols require a bit of nuance and when symbols can represent opposing ideas or things held in tension. So I try not to shy away from any symbols because I think it's important for people to become symbolically literate and to realize that there is some nuance there, that things can have multiple meanings and things like that.
So how do we bring back the Nehushtan?
Exactly.
like make the Nehushtan great again? We can't say Mitnunga, you know what I'm saying? But like, how do we start incorporating this more into Mormonism? Like, please, what do you suggest?
Can I say
Yes.
my idea?
Hit it, babe.
I think we need to frame this artwork and hang it around our church buildings in the hallways.
Ooh.
Wow.
You know what? That would be really interesting. Who was that artist in, I can't remember if he was in England or in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, where he didn't get busted for stealing artwork. He got busted for adding artwork to museums.
I think I saw that. Yeah.
Do you know the guy I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah, he would like fake colonial art, but then like add like a spray paint can with some graffiti behind Thomas Jefferson. And he would go in with a trench coat and he would smuggle art into the museums and straight up like with command strips and a fake plaque.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Put it onto the wall. I'm going to look this guy up while you're talking.
Okay, we're going to do the same with this.
We're going to do the exact same thing, but just with Library of Godwin art inside of LDS chapels. Like what's the picture? What's a picture that's in every, like Minerva Teichart? Why does Minerva Teichart get like such absolute unadulterated access to LDS chapel walls? Okay.
Yeah.
We literally have we've all seen this painting in our chapel. And that's great. It's a beautiful painting.
I do love her. Yeah, she's a great LDS artist.
Yeah, she's a great LDS artist, but dude, she's not the only one.
Well, and let's have some different types of art in our buildings, not just the same so it all looks like monotone, right? Like,
yeah,
how variety.
How epic would be this if you're a young man about to go into seminary in the morning and straight up you got the Nehushtan.
Like that makes you feel something, you know?
Yeah.
Like
I do think it triggers something, and that's part of it. So yeah, one other thing is I've noticed with church art in the past few years, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I call it Jesus holding a lamb in a field art, because every piece is just a nice watercolor picture of Jesus holding a lamb in a field.
It was so
and they're
brain
really nice.
damaged. We're so brain damaged by, they didn't say we were Christian enough, so all we're ever going to do is draw pictures of Jesus in a field holding a lamb. Okay, well, in this one, you're allowed to make them laugh. Okay, and in that one, you're allowed to do the other thing. But like maybe if we make enough Jesus paintings for free, they'll think we're Christians. No, these people hate us, and it's not worth losing the symbolism of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as you try desperately to be a Protestant.
Yeah, and there's just a depth and a richness and a heritage and a history that we lose when we do that, partly because there's art that's meant to make you feel, to make a space feel warm and relaxing and nice, and those are those kinds of paintings. But there's also art that's meant to instruct, to teach you in a way that words can't always do. And that's kind of what I like, and what I felt like growing up I kind of missed. I would find it in illustrated Bibles and in other Christian art, and then I realized, I don't really feel it that much in our art. So that's kind of part of my mission here, is to hopefully help encourage some symbolic literacy through art, so that people learn these symbols through the art, and then when they're reading the scriptures and they see the words of these symbols, they have this image that'll pop up in their mind, and they'll start to make connections.
And if they don't know a symbol, they would go home and Google it, like, hey, what is this? And that just instills more learning, whereas if you just look at Jesus and a lamb in a field, everyone knows those
you
three
feel
things.
And that it feels good, and it's really nice, and it's pleasant, but it's a different kind of, it's an art for a different purpose, I think.
Okay, here's the outro, bro. Talk to me about the back. What is this?
Yeah, the back is the scene of Jesus appearing to the Nephites. So you've got the Nephite temple designed in the style.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to know exactly how to design it. I didn't want to lean Mesoamerican or North American one way or the other.
So you wimped out is what you mean, huh?
I wanted the focus to not be on that, and to focus, I wanted it to feel like a Semitic people's story. So it's illustrated in that way. But yeah, you've got an ancient temple.
But how Semitic can you be if you're Mesoamerican for 10 generations? Huh?
Well, that is the question of
How
the day.
Semitic can you be if you're in the mountains of Missouri? Huh? No, I'm just kidding, bro.
So yeah, the back cover is that scene from a distance, and the front cover is probably more symbolic. It's got a lot of things on it. But yeah, you've got Christ descending down. You've got God's hand above him as God introduces him to the people. You've got the altar of burnt sacrifices and the Nephites gathering around.
Have you had any artwork commissioned by Rod Meldrum and the Heartlanders?
No, not yet.
Oh,
I'm open to it.
It's coming.
I like Ron's work.
It's coming. I'm literally going to have them commission a piece of artwork. Heartlander Jesus descending. Like
to a burial mound.
I don't know what's the most Heartlander phrase you could write. Just like
America.
Yeah, just like the light rays are saying hashtag America or what? Just like in a Ronald Reagan shirt. Tiancum slays. Adina.
A bald eagle would bring him down.
Yes,
with a
bald eagle cawing in the background.
Yeah, there you go.
A giant burial mound, literally on the borders of the Mississippi, Sidon River, right? Or something
and
super
somehow
sick
in
like
a cloud, it has to kind of resemble like Donald Trump.
There you go. A silhouette, yeah.
I love these guys. You have no idea. I love the Heartlanders. Have you ever been to the conference, bro?
I haven't been to the conference.
Dude, you need to bring this.
But I like their stuff, yeah.
Oh, no. You need to, no. Okay, so here's what's so fun. The Heartlanders are so fun, and I love these guys because actually nothing to do with the geography. Like Rod Meldrum has built an empire of faith.
Yeah.
These people, they're so committed and they love their faith, and they're not irrational. They even argue amongst themselves. Like some people think the Jaredites came to the northwestern seaboard up by Seattle and Portland. Others think it was in the DNA. Others think it was the Great Lakes area, so on and so forth. And they even have their interior quibbles, right? But at the end of the day, they are so positively engaged.
Yeah.
Just so happy to be members of the church and the Book of Mormon And consistently when I meet these cats, you hear that like in their ward, they're like the first to show up when somebody's got to move in. They're like the last to leave when it comes to like cleaning the chapel. And like, they're just so dedicated to the gospel. I'm happier around these cats. Like I'm just excited. Whereas unfortunately, sometimes with the mezzo dudes, it's like, they're so busy trying to be like academics, you know what I'm saying? And talk about how, well, you can't know the exact thing. Like, it's like, okay, guys, like, but it's fun to think what if, right? It's like they don't allow themselves to have fun. But like the Heartlanders, they're just so freaking fun that it's just like, I love it. It's literally like an empire of belief. And what's so cool is that it allows for things to be like, oh, we want to commission a 10-piece art set of, you know, like Library of Godwin's art, and as if it were set in, I don't know, Kansas or wherever, you know. Yeah. I don't even know enough to be representing them well, you know. But it's like they'll be the first ones to step out and adopt something new. And to me, that's so much the ethos of like what Mormonism was, especially in the 1800s and 1900s.
I agree.
Like always ahead of the curve with like the printing press, and ahead of the curve with the radio and everything. Like the dudes are fun. Like I just admit I'm a yellow and a red personality type. The
they're very
Hartman
open
color code. And these guys, dude, they're fun. They're fun, and I love fun. So, I'm popping out of frame there. Jeez, I got to get that under control. So anyway, thanks for hanging out. How can people get your Book of Mormon? How can the Heartlanders commission a 10-piece series on Teancum as an Indina warrior? You know what I'm saying? Like, how can people get a hold of you, bro?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and X, Library of Godwin. Libraryofgodwin.com is where you can see all of my artwork. I want everyone to be able to enjoy everything I've done. So you can also order prints there. You can also order digital copies to support my work. And then there's links to buy. So there's this, the softcover Book of Mormon, which is the entire Book of Mormon. And then you can see there's the one with the red title banner. So that right one. Here. That's the collected illustrations. That's hardcover. Amazon has restrictions on page count. So that one is just the illustrations. It's hardback. It's really nice. Great product. It has just the illustrations on one page, and then the relevant scripture passage on the opposite page is
awesome.
What I've done.
All right. I'm ordering it right now, dog.
I literally love your art. Like, I'm not just saying
much.
that like blowing smoke, you know, because you're here sitting in the studio. I actually really love it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. And the best part is that I can add it to my cart, go to cart, and check out right now because I got them points.
Ooh.
I got them points. Sorry, babe. Christmas just got $45 less. That's good. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, this is absolutely awesome, guys. Please go check him out. His name is Library of Godwin. He's there on Instagram, publishing his art as fast as he can make it.
That's
and he
right.
also has some super cool books available on Amazon, or I'd like to say wherever fine books are sold. Are you in Deseret Book? Are you with Plain and Precious? Do you have any other hookups, man?
Right now it's just Amazon, but we'll see. So this year I'm doing the restoration and the doctrines of the restoration. So we'll see another book towards the end of this year with the illustrations from this year. And I've got some things in the works on distribution and how I might do that. But for now it's just on Amazon. You can get the link through my website or on social media. And yeah, I appreciate all the support.
Okay, do you hear that? Deseret Book, do you hear that? Hayden and Jackson Paul, do you hear that? Dave Butler, you got an artist on the loose with some books to publish. I suggest you catch him because I just ordered mine. I'm so excited. This is literally going to go on my coffee table. I am stoked out of my mind to have you a part of my the art in my house. Guys, to see more and to we're going to have links. If you're listening to this on YouTube, we're going to have links to your artwork and so on and so forth in the description of the video. If you're listening to us on the radio, please make sure you check out more information on wardradio.com. And if you want to look at his artwork on Instagram, it is Library of Godwin with a bunch of underscores. And you can check it out there. Either way, as we always say, for this and more, please make sure you check us out at wardradio.com.